Welcome to the Junkyard Love Podcast.
At what age do we learn how to have better conversations? At what age do we learn to have better conversations with ourselves?
What's up, y'all? My recommendation today is going to be in the form of a book, and it's going to be the book The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, it's absolutely fantastic. I suggest it for really anybody who's facing resistance in their life, resistance of any sort. Of course, this works for creators, but nowadays I think with this fast-paced world, we're all a bit of a creator in many different ways. So The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. If you want a 10-minute lowdown on the book, I'm sure they have it on YouTube or the app called Blinkist. Give it a look. Welcome to the podcast. Enjoy. Max.
Jake.
My brother, will you walk me first and foremost through the spelling and pronunciation of your last name?
Payne. Payne.
All right.
You gotta keep the V. You gotta have the V there. It's not Maxx Payne. It's Maxx V Payne. That's crucial.
Tell me about that, though. We were talking about aliases before this.
Well,
Talking about different names, different stage names, real names.
Mm-hmm.
We can expand on all.
Oh,
of
do
them.
you want me to like go into my real name?
It's up to you.
I'm trying to get away from that.
Well,
But yeah, that's a. Should I need to be focused in on that? Sorry, my bad. That's my bad.
So Maxx V Payne, tell me about this name. Tell me about this alias.
That's just the alias that I decided to go with. I don't know. Let's say, when did I change it? A year ago? 2 years ago? About a year and a half. 2 years ago. It was more of like, I wasn't, because I went by Dopamine, at least for my rap name. Okay, so let's start just so we have context for everything. My name is Maxx V Payne. I am a father from Vancouver, Washington. I'm actually technically from Kelso, Washington, but I do live in Vancouver.
Right.
I make hip hop music. I produce hip hop music. I am a videographer. I love to make music videos, all types of videos. I have several different projects I'm working on right now. I fancy myself a comedian sometimes, so I think I could be pretty funny. I've done some stand-up comedy in my time. And so I do a whole lot of different kind of things with the team Half-Life Entertainment. But I kind of, for a while, I was like known as, so Dopamine was the rapper, and then Max is, the guy who makes the videos and all that other stuff.
You're funny on social media, all that.
Yeah, I try to be. It works out sometimes. But I guess at some point a year ago, I changed because my full name, all right, we're going to go there. My full name is Maxim Vladimirovich Pisarchuk.
Okay.
So I'm not going to spell that for you.
That was what I was trying to trick you into saying very first. And I apologize to catch you off guard like that. I thought you were going to roll into it.
I think like altogether that's like 37 letters or something like that. I counted when I was younger.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
It's way too much. Way too long of a name.
And you wrote that at the top of every paper.
No, I do not put my middle name. No, that's horrible. But if you were to look at my driver's license, that's what it says on there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I kind of tried to get away from that a little bit. I just wanted to shorten my name up. So it was more of like just a kind of a pseudonym, because I'm into the music, but I'm really into like film and movies and things like that, and I want to act. So like before I ever wanted to be a rapper,
right.
I wanted to be an actor.
You're an all around creator.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's for instance like Vin Diesel. His real name is Mark Vincent.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I feel like I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's something, it's kind of the same thing there, where I was just like, let me just kind of shorten up the name, make it a little bit like more pleasing to look at, a lot quicker to say, because, even Max Pisarchuk is like, that's a mouthful, and so anybody who sees the name, like their first question is how do you pronounce that?
Right.
Like, how do you say that? And I'm like, do you want the Russian pronunciation or do you want the English
I know,
pronunciation?
it's almost a waste of your time at this point. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My name is this. It's just, my name is Bob. Let's get on with our conversation.
Yeah, so I just decided to go with a quick, simple, easy name, Maxx V Payne. I think I think it works. It works really nicely. And then as of last year, end of last year, beginning of this year, I'm no longer going by dopamine, and I never announced that to anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
I didn't think people cared that
Is
much.
Is there like a world where we should announce it, quote unquote? Isn't that like kind of weird? Do you feel
That's
like you
what
need
people-
to like, we need to tell everybody, but also what?
That's kind of people do, and it's weird with like local rappers when they try to make these really huge ass announcements when it's like, okay, like you're not really popular enough for anybody to actually give that much of a fuck, and they kind of got to make like a whole huge big deal out of it.
Well, I mean, that comes with the being an artist, being a musician nowadays. It means that you have album art and you have teasers and you have like all these things. Like everybody has their own level of like their release that they feel they need to do now. You know, I feel like that spans pretty broad. So when it comes to aliases, so for a long time, so how we know each other, I mean, I feel like we know each other just through friends and Facebook of regular life names, but we've also worked together multiple times. I've DJ'd for just played your instrumentals at a few shows and hung out with you guys. And
thank you for your involvement in those shows, man. You're a great DJ. Our favorite one to work with so far.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate working with you guys. I mean, hanging out with you guys is great. I can't wait for the future. I'm sure we're going to be getting in on some music together here soon. Absolutely. We've got some things to talk about, of course. Absolutely. But so at that time, though, I knew you more as Dopamine, as your rap alias. Can you start me from the beginning of your rap world? When you first, let's say, how old were you when you first heard your first rap song that you liked, and when did you start doing your own?
Okay, so when I first heard rap music, I did not like rap music.
Do you remember what it was?
I had no idea what it was, but I like the way I described it, and I remember being probably like 7 years old or something like that, but like hearing something, and then I was talking to somebody and I was like, I don't like that music where it sounds like they're talking. That's how I could, because for me, like I've always been more influenced by like rock music, and things like that. Like that was so things where you can like really just kind of feel the emotion and the cadence and the melody and whatnot. Like for me, that was something that always drew me to. So when I hear, like, just even as a kid, back when I used to go to church, I remember there's like certain songs that they'd sing, and just because of the cadence, like I was locked in. I'd be getting goosebumps,
right.
And you're being told as a kid you're getting the Holy Spirit, the goosebumps of the Holy Spirit, and I'm just God. Like I'm captivated by the way that they're singing it, and it just like, and I also remember we'd have like a project, like one of those old school projectors that you use at school, but they had it on my church where they put the lyrics of the songs that you're singing.
It was like an Elmo with the remember those where they
you write on it, exactly. But they got these printed. And at the time, that was like technology at its finest,
money.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember my favorite songs were the songs where the words rhymed at the end of each line. Like, so as a kid, so I didn't know what that was, but I just know I'm like, it sounds weird when they're singing those songs, but they're not rhyming in them. Like that, I didn't like that. That was weird to me, And then I
pull this thing a little bit closer, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. I'm getting.
No, go ahead and talk to the front of it and less the top. I'll explain later. I put the new caps on.
Anyway, so I didn't like rap music when I first heard it as a kid. And then I think the first time I heard... Actually, no. This is a lie. Because I remember when I first heard Eminem... I thought Eminem sounded like because I'd heard like a girl. I'd heard other rappers, and when it's like an African American rapper, they're like that they got the bassy voice or whatever. And then Eminem came out, and I was like, this sounds like it sounds like a dude with allergies or like a girl. So I thought it was funny, and then I remember like Lose Yourself came out, and I thought that was like so cool. I thought it was awesome, and I remember me and Ryan Reed, who is in Half-Life Entertainment with me. We were friends since like first grade, so we go way back. But I remember being in high cap, and he was there too. And I brought up this song "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. I was like, "Have you heard that?" And he was like, whew, sorry. He was like, dude, Eminem sucks. Like that song's whack, whatever. And it kind of like shut me down. And I was like, yeah, I guess it's whack. Okay, you know, like, so you're like a kid. It's like you're influenced really easily. So it's like, yeah, damn, whatever. So I kind of like moved off from it. But in that time, I started writing lyrics. I started writing poetry when I was 9 years old. I wrote my first poem as a 9-year-old, and then I started writing like songs when I was 11. And at the time, I wanted to start a Christian rock band.
Epic.
Yeah, dude. I was
RTC.
like, is that what it was called? RTC, Road to Christ. That's so corny.
It's probably used now, honestly.
From like,
somebody else took it by now.
From 11 years old to probably about 13, I know I wrote something like 80 songs for this Christian rock group. And like these were like, I had books full of lyrics and stuff like that. So I was already writing like songs.
Do you remember, would you like just go to your room? Like, would you and your brother hang out and make them together? Or what?
No, he liked guitar. So I mean, a lot of this, like he was supposed to be the guitarist in this band, you know, but a lot of this band was just me writing songs, and yeah, I'd be doing a lot of it by myself. I remember, especially like as a kid, there'd be a lot of nights where we're watching movies as like a family and shit like that, and while they're watching the movie, I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna go downstairs, and I'd go downstairs, and I'd either I remember my parents got us this boombox, and it had like a tape player that you could record music with and stuff like that. So I would
like one on either side. Was it? Remember there was like
no,
one.
No, oh yeah, no, it was newer than that. It was like it was newer than that. So it was like this one, and you could record things off of the radio onto a cassette tape. So I would So while they're watching movies, I'd go downstairs and I'd turn on the radio, listen to my favorite, and like my parents only let us listen to the Christian radio.
Oh,
but when they were watching movies, I could go to Z100, right? And I was listening to like Smash Mouth and Linkin Park and shit like that at the time, right? But so for me, my fun thing, I didn't like watching the movies. I wanted to be downstairs, and I was like recording my favorite songs because I just really like listening to the radio and whatnot. And then it translated into now I'm just going down, stealing time away so I could be writing in this little red composition book. And I wrote probably 75 or 80 songs by the time I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Do you remember what kind of, so they were church related songs? Were they like, were they related to rap at all, would you say? Or were they just like getting some stuff that rhymes out? Or?
No, it was just kind of rhyming. Like, cause I thought I was going to be a singer. Right?
Let me sing one real quick. I remember.
Wait, introduce the man talking real quick.
Okay. So over here we have my younger brother, Giannis, also known as Kanitis. He is a singer, and apparently he remembers one of the Christian songs I wrote 20 years and 15 years ago. Hit him.
He's gonna lean in on the mic. We didn't grab him some headphones and a mic set up for this, so we're just gonna lean in real quick.
Okay, you're gonna remember this one. The only reason I remember this one was because we sat with Vera and she kind of worked with you on it.
Oh,
remember
right, huh?
the Jesus, it's cold, hold us tonight. Jesus, it's cold, give us your light.
Oh, okay, I remember. Yeah, I wrote a song.
That sounds great,
dude. No, I wrote a song about. I wrote a song. It was about a family that was like that was poor and that was not doing well in life, right? And so it was a story about a family who like, you know, they're living in a house that they can't afford anymore and their heat got shut off and whatnot. So there was like,
so you took rap stories into church.
Yeah,
words.
it wasn't even rap. It was like, it was all singing.
Well, no,
so
but that's like the rap vibe of like, here's what real life is about.
Yeah, this is true.
You brought that into church.
I was a child,
we
bro.
never had our heat turned off.
We never. I was like, I want to write something about
right.
But actually, then like because at the time, like, you know, we were still doing quite all right in life. We weren't doing like horribly in life until a few years after that, because after that point we had moved to Vancouver. My parents got divorced, and then my mom who you know, spent 12 years as a stay-at-home mom, not speaking a word of English, suddenly had to take care of 3 boys by herself, you know. And so then we kind of started doing bad, and I started getting more of like real life experiences. But at the time I was just a kid and I wanted something to write about, you know. But I didn't start rapping until, I want to say, in 7th grade. I started walking around the gym with my friends, just like throwing random freestyles, because I already knew how to rhyme based on all the songs and stuff that I'd been writing. And so I'd be walking around just throwing really stupid freestyles, and they would just be like, "Wow, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you know how homies do.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, okay, well, that's fun. And so I wrote a couple different really stupid rap songs, but it was my freshman year of high school where I recorded my first song that I wrote. And it was called "We Smack Bitches."
We already talked about it. We're gonna get the reduct of this.
Dude.
Where we're gonna.
Horrible.
When's the next show, bro? Are you gonna open with that?
Yeah,
I'm gonna chant it from the crowd until you play it or throw me out.
Speaking of aliases, my first alias was Uncle Sugar because I thought
Give it to him, Uncle Sugar.
I thought I was a pimp.
How old were you at Uncle Sugar?
15.
Clearly. Okay.
15. And that's actually funny because at 17 years old is when I changed it to dopamine and people got mad at me. They were like, why? That's so stupid. I'm like, because who the fuck is listening to a white kid named Uncle Sugar?
Right. You're like, did you not hear my name?
Right.
It's
So
Uncle
like,
Sugar.
the first of the rap songs I was making were like jokes. I was like,
Okay.
I'm obviously not taking this seriously. Like, I thought it was funny, and I was like, let me make gangster music, like whatever. So I didn't take any of it seriously. And yeah, it wasn't until I was probably 17 where I wrote a rap song that was like about myself, about my own life and whatnot. And I was like, oh, like I could do something like this.
That's a way to get some things out. And
So that's when I went into dopamine, because when I started taking it seriously, that's when I took on dopamine, and kind of my thoughts behind that one, which it's actually funny. The first time I heard the word dopamine, which, anybody who doesn't know science and biology, it's a neurotransmitter in your brain that like gives you the feelings of like, oh, you got it right there. Endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. That's happiness.
Put them together, it's happiness.
Exactly. Okay, so for me,
What's many things.
the first time I heard the phrase or the word dopamine, it was on a BET freestyle.
Okay.
And Eminem was on it, and it was like Mos Def, Black Thought, and Eminem.
Okay.
And then Eminem had this line on, like, I can't remember. It was like a coke fiend opening a bottle of dopamine. Like, that was the first time I heard that. And I was like, what? That's so cool. Like that. Ooh, that's a cool word.
It's very snappy with the way it rhymes too.
Exactly.
It's like dopamine is thrown at you.
He had a really cool, I mean, he just put an album out. Awesome. I'm not promoting his album. I'm sorry. But anyway, like that was the first time I heard the word, and I thought it was really cool. And then I went and figured out what it meant, and it was, it's neurotransmitter that makes you feel good, promotes feelings of, makes you feel good. I was like, oh, yes, light bulb went off in my head. It's like, I make people feel good, and at the time it was just saying really stupid things on like Facebook to make people laugh,
Right.
But yeah, so I went with dopamine for several years up until, and the last song I put out as dopamine was almost fully a year ago. It's called Thrones. Really cool song. But that was the last one I released as dopamine. And then after that point, like, it's just, I'm kind of veering away from like, rap names, rap aliases, things like that. Like, I decided on Maxx V Payne as a name for myself. And now I just want that to be across all platforms, across my comedy, across my music, across my videos, across everything. Like, you're gonna, it's me,
Right.
I don't need different aliases. Like, I'm the same person and I'm doing all these things and I want to be successful at every single one of these things. So that's the super long version of my name. Sorry.
No, not super long version at all. That's the thing. Long form podcast is we're not in a rush. I don't have to give you like this like quick interview shit. Like we can just bullshit. You can tell me, because dude, a lot of the times I notice as someone's like, hey, how'd you get the name blah blah blah, or how'd you do da da da, and I'll start talking about it and I'm like, man, I kind of don't know shit until I start blabbing about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of how it forms together, as we get talking about it. So dude, you got the ground to talk about it. So forming aliases, it's so cool. A lot of times I've had a couple people on here already, actually probably 4 or 5 who have aliases, and we talked about aliases because I think that it's people who are artists, it might be like a weird thing, or it might be some sort of like egocentric thing, like you're just trying to get like different areas, but it's not. It's definitely something that is built and easily accessible in the way the world works now. Like we don't have to categorize ourselves into just one thing. Like if we have different projects and different sides of us that represent different things, and we don't want all of them to run into our normal everyday life walking around, we can kind of create these little strongholds that seem to like put it into perspective. Because I had one time where I played a place in town, and they put my name on the billboard as DJ Jake Ryan's. And I was like, God damn it. And I've had that before at like little bars and stuff, or they'll put like, I've had one that was DJ Cronus. Okay, so it's CHRONUS, but it was way worse. There was something even worse about it, but
DJ Chronics.
I know, but it does kind of make you question. It's like, oh yeah, this whole thing is kind of silly. Like it's like I don't feel the need to be a diva about it, but it is nice to funnel our life into, you know, different areas of ourselves. So you kind of gave your rap background, but there's a lot of different sides of you that I want to touch on. Just like you're a very in-depth person. So let's slide into comedy. I did a show. Did you do only one comedy show with me me there, or was it two?
No, I think I did. Were you at the September show?
Yeah.
We were raising money for YWCA at that one, and
I've done two at Paris.
Okay. Then no. You. So yeah, you were at my very first comedy show.
Okay.
I've done two like. Really
there was one where you did a slideshow story too, though.
That's the one.
Okay.
Then you were at the second one. That was the September one.
Dude, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
yeah,
never
dates. but yeah. So I saw both of them, and it's cool to see you explore this side. And it was pretty damn funny. And I have you on social medias, and you're always super funny on social medias.
I appreciate that.
You're good at the interaction too. Like it's not just like you're witty too. So meaning like if someone has something to say about it in the comments, you respond with a fucking hilarious thing too. Like it's just
appreciate
great.
That.
So it excites me, dude. I'm just like for me at this point in my life, I'm just like if I'm seeing a dreamer, I'm like fuck yeah, bro, because I just feel like I understand what you know.
I really love that about you, man.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool, and like you know you spread a lot of positivity with that and because of that and whatnot. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No doubt, dude. I try to. I mean, and you spread a lot of laughter. So I want to dive into that. So at what point when you're rapping and you're enjoying life, obviously you're not just like 24/7 just rapping and writing lyrics, right? Like you can dive into a little bit of what your life was like right here, and then how'd you transition into like when do you kind of start doing comedy in the more recent years, and what was the like, did anybody give you permission, or did you just like, you know what, I want to just do this thing? Or can you talk about that?
Yeah, comedy, that was always there for me. I got in trouble once because I called myself a comedian, and my buddy Joseph Crumb, who was more of a comedian than I am, because he actually does a lot of shows and whatnot. But I
think I have him on Facebook.
He checked me one time because he was like, you know, he's like, if you go around calling yourself a comedian, that's gonna piss people off. I'm like, well, why? He's like, you haven't done any shows. I'm like, I know, but I'm funny. Like,
right.
I figured that's all that I needed to qualify.
Right.
You know, but that was so comedy was kind of like always around. It was just a natural thing. I just always enjoyed making people laugh and making people around me have a good time. So I was never above doing anything just super stupid just to get a laugh, you know? Right. And a lot of the times it just came out weird or annoying, you know?
You got to try it out.
Exactly. Like, you know, you don't know what people are into or not until you just go at it. You go for it, you know? And so it was always kind of around there. And I've had a lot of people, like an uncomfortable amount of people who like just dead it in the face, this is the best way for you to like pat me in the back and then slap me in the face at the same time, where they're like, you should quit rap and do comedy. Right. So it's like, you're hilarious.
You're like the disrespect and the compliment.
Like, how am I supposed to feel about that, you know? And so, it was always kind of around there, and people were always like, dude, you should do comedy. You should do stand-up comedy, because, you know, my biggest platform for it for the longest time was just Facebook. You know, it would be on as a status or like as a really dumb video I made or something like that. But and at first it was just kind of like, oh, let me give people a good time. And then I started receiving a lot of messages from people over the years that are like, hey, like, you know, I don't want to sound weird or anything like that, but like, you're the reason I get on Facebook at all ever. And it's like, I have a really shitty day, or like, I had a really shitty day today, and that thing you said, dog, I can't stop laughing about it. Thank you. You know? And so people started just like thanking me for doing that kind of stuff. And like, I kind of like, I felt weird about it for the longest time, because I say really like off the wall shit and just things that most people are like, why would you say that? You know, right. And so, you know, I just kind of, you know, it's kind of what's the shock effect or whatever.
Right.
I can't remember what the exact term of that is, but like, that was just kind of the person I am. I always just kind of said the thing that, you know, people are thinking but don't want to say because people don't say that kind of shit.
We're not allowed to,
Exactly,
especially not
you know?
on Facebook or social media.
And then people started thanking me for doing those things, you know, and I felt weird about it because I'm like, people probably hate me and think I'm like the biggest dick, you know, and then people are just like, you make my days better. Like I get on Facebook just to see what you said that day because that's going to like make me smile, you know? And then, so I was like, well, all right. So I started doing more of that. And I think it was probably like, I know I had like a New Year's resolution either in like 2018. It started in 2018 and then I revamped it in 2019 where I was like, I'm going to get on stage and do stand-up comedy at least once. You know, I was like, I've done this enough and I've had enough people be like, hey, you should do this. You should try this, that. I want to try it, you know? But I didn't want it to, you know, I didn't want to just go like, oh, let's go to an open mic and get 2 minutes on the stage. And the opportunity presented itself to try it when, me and Ryan Reed, you know, we kind of thought of this idea and he really kind of like ran with it and he's been responsible for our successes with these. But we kind of had these ideas where we got tired of like performing at local shows because it was just like, you get 5 to 15, like just really lame performers. And then all your people have to show up and wait. And so like, we wanted to throw our own shows where it's like, you can come out, we pick the performers, and there's not a ton of them, and like you can come out and enjoy coming out for 3 hours, you know, like you don't have to pay $15 to come for like a 10-minute set. Like right. I hate doing that to people. Just come out to my show, I'm only performing for like 10 minutes, you know, right. And so you have to pay.
Well, something that you guys always do, and I know because I've worked with you and I've rehearsed with you guys and I've practiced with you guys before multiple shows, is you guys practice your performance. Everything that you do is coinciding. You guys, when you're making a song, you're thinking big production. You were talking about how you wanted to be a director and stuff when you're younger, acting, whatever. Yeah. Like it's the way that your brain set works. It's the way that your brother's brain works. It's the way that Ryan Reed's brain works. Like you guys, it comes across, it's worth that $15 because all of you guys who are performing are showing out. It's not, there's a little bit of that flair from hip hop of like, we're kind of competing. Like let's, you know, bunk heads, like that's what hip hop is, but it's not too much of that. It's, we're going to come out in like, we know where we're at, we know what's going on, but we're going to show you that we did practice and we did put our hearts into what we did. So you guys think big picture, you practice what you're doing. So when people come to your shows, it's, even if I don't know this kind of music, I don't listen to it, I don't know any of these people, I'm going to watch some people perform their hearts out. That's no doubt. And because you guys have put in the time. So we can put a peg in that, but yeah.
I mean, he called me out on it once before. We were practicing for a show that was coming out. And, you know, I was just, cause we, like you said, we really get into the performances, you know, because in that moment, like that's just kind of where we can really shine. And so in that moment, like that's the only thing that matters is this performance and just to give it to the people, you know? And so we really put our hearts into it. And I remember we were practicing once and he was just looking over there staring at me and he's like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're an entirely different person when you perform. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're such a like loser in real life. You're like so lame. It's like, it hurts to see. He's like, but then you start performing and you turn into like a god. Like where does that come from? You know?
Who said that?
You said,
you pointed.
Oh, I did. I just point. I'm sorry. I'm pointing at my little brother.
He's like, give me my credit. I called you a god.
He said, don't plagiarize. Let him know who it is. But yeah, like we really do put like everything we can into that, and so we were like having our own show that we are responsible for and throwing. Like we have more of an opportunity to do that, you know. So we were able to find some venues, and Paris Theater had us in for a few shows, and I think they were really awesome. But we had thrown one in at the end of 2018, and that's the one where I don't know if I think you were DJing that one, but that's the one where me and Ryan had a rap battle in. Yeah, so like that was our like first Half-Life show that we put on ever, you know, like the first like really big one. Yeah. And so like one of the things that we do aside from just like, you know, really rehearsing for the things that like we want to add something into each of these shows that's just a little bit different than your like everyday like a local rap show or whatever, something that's fun, something that's exciting. So at this one we did a rap battle, and we're like, how about we see the two guys that are doing all this go at each other, and we just tore into each other.
Well, and you guys added this awesome like kind of like UFC banter like on social media before. You guys had interviews, like that whole thing, dude. That to me, that's someone. I love that, dude. I love that. I think that more people should spend their time not just on their like I'm only gonna remember my lyrics and so I can go out and just say them correctly. It's like no, dude. We let your brain think as big as it really does.
We want
you guys
a big
let it rip.
experience. Yeah, we want them. We want people to like, if you're going to pay $10-15, we want you to be there and 2-3 hours later, you'd be like, whoa, damn, has it already been that much time? Like, we want you to have a good time, like enjoy yourself, And so, especially when it comes to like social media and promotion and whatnot, we really try to put like the life and the fun into it just to let people know that that's how we are, and you've been to enough of our shows. Like, there's just a different energy about it, like we bring a lot of energy and the people start giving back and we can just feed off of it.
You guys brought that to the Jaron Benton show, actually.
Yeah.
Remember that, bro?
Yeah.
That was tight. Like you guys had an energy in your crew with you that was like on board too.
That was no, dude. And when you get an opportunity like that, like you got to be ready for it. And you just got to make the most of it. And, obviously, like it's not like anything super crazy came from it, but a lot of people from the town came out. And we've been doing this for so many years already, and like we've gone through. People don't like us, and people think we're whack and corny and this and that. Like we've gone through all of that already, and now like we're just kind of in a place where people are realizing that we're actually really serious about it, and like there's just a different level of respect that's starting to come from people, and that feels really good because we knew it was coming all along, and that's something that we've been fighting for. It's just now we're in a place where we're capable of like making that happen, and so we started doing these shows. We did the first show, had the rap battle, things went great, and after that point we decided that like we need to make sure that we're like doing something that's positive with each of these shows as well. So we started and it started then, and now like we're doing it continuously, but like every big show that we put on, like all of the profits that we make from it go to charity. They go somewhere, and we usually pick out and research a really good organization.
You guys have you done 3 different charities now, or is it
3? Yeah.
Can you name them real quick just to shout them out?
So the first one, which was the comedy show, which I was trying to lead into because we started that one way long ago, but
we'll get back on it.
Yeah, the first one that we donated to was Dornbecker Children's Hospital. That was back in June of 2019. We threw on a show. It was awesome. That was the first benefit concert that we ever put on. Oh, well, if we take it back to 2013, you
guys have been doing it. I mean, it's building on.
Yeah, so me and Ryan started doing our music together in 2012, and then in 2013, we had put on a show to help a buddy with like a project for school or something like that, and he wanted to put on a rap show to raise money for like war veterans and things like that. So our first benefit show, which I guess we technically put on as well. But back, like, I don't really count that one. It was really super small. I was in a high school,
Well, dude, we forget about all these things, but then if you have to look at your life on a timeline, it's like, oh yeah, I guess we kind of were dipping our feet into that. Yeah. We were kind of doing that. Like I start to notice
that's a lot, especially a lot of the things that I'm really good at now and that I pride myself on are things that back then I was just kind of like dabbling a little bit here, a little bit there, and then like after some time you realize like, damn, like we can actually do this, you know?
You gotta let yourself have it.
Yeah. And so then fast forward 6 years to 2019, now we have the ability to actually put on these shows at a real venue, and make sure that people are having an amazing time. So the first one we put on, a benefit show that we put on, was in June of 2019, and that was for Dornbecker Children's Hospital. And that was, we had done the rap battle at the first show, and at this one, I actually pressed Ryan. I was like, let me do comedy, let me do stand up, let me do stand up, and he was like, yes, let's do it, like, because that's something that he's kind of been
pull it down a little bit, buddy.
Right about there.
Yeah, there you go. Just so it doesn't cover your face, so I can like see your mouth when you're talking.
Okay,
it's those little things.
We gotta look at each other. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Ryan was like hard pressed. He didn't want to let you do comedy.
No. He just like that was just the idea that I was bringing to him, and he was definitely on board from the beginning. He says that he always knew it was going to be good and whatnot, but I feel like he might have had his doubts then, because it's something that's very new, and him and Giannis and everybody else are well aware that I'm capable of just opening my mouth and saying some shit that you're just like,
Right.
whoa,
Right.
bro.
Dude, I think he has genuine cares, but I think there's also a small pinch of him, like, as each of us would have, is almost like that, like, I know I need to light a little bit of a fire because, like, I want him to do it too. Like, so I'm going to tell him that he can't do it because I know he's in.
Well, he never said no. Like, I think like when I was first bringing it up, like, you know, he was like, yeah, but it wasn't like, he wasn't like super excited. It didn't feel like he was super stoked on the idea, you know, because again, it's like at the time, like he knows me better than anybody else. And he knows like I'm liable to just say some shit that he's just going to like be like, no, God damn it, Max. Like,
well, and nowadays, dude, the world is just weird and fucky with all the comedy stuff.
So, I mean, with that first one, I actually the night before the show, I performed my whole stand-up set for him in his kitchen.
Okay.
Just so he knew what he was.
What were you wearing?
I don't, at the show or in the kitchen?
In the kitchen, I just imagine.
I can't remember, but I imagine it was something really basic because we were just like going over, you know, team things and putting in our last preparations for the show.
Right. You don't have to tell us about the details of your guys' relationship. It's fine. I won't press on it anymore.
I don't remember what I was wearing, dude. I wish I could tell you what I was wearing, but I don't remember. So that was the first show. The second benefit that we did was for YWCA. Clark County, and that's an organization that helps women and children that are dealing with like domestic violence and things like that. So that was the second donation we did, and then the third one happened December 6th. In that we made a large donation to Boxes of Love, and Boxes of Love. I wasn't there personally. I had to go and work that weekend, but the team went on a really big shopping spree. And with all the proceeds that we had made from the show, they had bought enough like clothes, gifts, and things like that for foster kids, brought it to Boxes of Love. Boxes of Love said that was the largest single donation that they'd ever received. And they have enough stuff from that one donation for 2 years.
What?
Yeah.
That's so epic.
Yeah.
That's so tight. That's so worth it.
So proud of the team for that. Like that, right. You know, and we just want to continue doing that kind of stuff, you know, and it's just like, it's just being able to give it back to the community. And, you know, everybody has their own things that, you know, they kind of thrive in and that they're good at, you know. For me, it just happened to be like comedy and stuff. So I've done the stand up there a few times. Ooh, voice cracked. There we go.
I hit puberty sometimes too, brother.
I know, dude. It's weird. It's weird. I'm like 26 years old, and I'm like, really, still now, really?
Bro, I am a DJ who works in loud clubs, who has to talk to drunk people who say what 17 times. My voice cracks. Like at some point, it's just like my voice cracks in clubs more often than it doesn't.
You're just like, this is who I am now.
I'm training my future metal voice. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going for the Coheed and Cambria sound.
Ooh, Coheed and Cambria sound. I like that. That's what Jake Wilson would love that. Where is he? He was supposed to be here.
He'll be here soon. So switching into comedy, I had texted you. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit. We'll hang up on just comedy in general. You're someone who's never been afraid to push the boundaries of comedy. And it's funny because comedians, I listen to a lot of like Joe Rogan and stuff, you know, comedians, they kind of seem, this is the worst word ever. And I hope you know what I mean. Like, let's say dumber, like more like, not dumber, simple to other people. So let's see like the businessman, like he's thinking of a comedian, like you're an idiot. You don't take life seriously. Right.
Yeah.
But realistically, what I want to express is I think comedians are one of the more important, very important members of our society because we have to see the irony in the stupid shit that we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to. And comedians are the ones who like they say the things that, of course, we're like, wait, you can't say that. And then they reiterate on how they fucking can say that. And we have to be able to have them say that in order for things to work like this. And I think that's just super important. And I like expressing and expanding on people's opinions of this. And of course, I want your opinion on this because I think that the intelligence that comedians has is like, maybe it's not compared to like business intelligence, whatever that sentence might mean, right? But it's a different kind of intelligence. Like comedians are very smart. They understand things from a level of like, It's not that you're like, hey, I need to point this thing about society so I can keep it afloat. Like
Yeah.
you're doing it obviously to make people laugh and obviously for the enjoyment of things. So it's from a good place in the first place. But the complexity of the things, even if it's a simple joke, comedy is very important with the way the culture and society work.
Yeah. I think the thing that I really appreciate about comedy and comedians is I don't think necessarily, you know, that, you know, like they're dumber. I understand the perspective of like, you know, somebody being like, oh, you just don't take life seriously or whatnot.
Right.
But I think,
yeah, of course, don't hang up on the word.
No,
dumber.
no,
Absolutely
not.
Trying to expand on it.
I think the thing that I really respect about like comedians is when you're looking at it from like the, you know, the business perspective or like the politically correct perspective or whatnot, there's like this certain code of ethics that the world just has to follow to make sure that, you know, this is what defines like a good person or like a stand-up citizen or something like that, you know. Right. The thing about comedy that's super important, I think, is that these like kind of ethics, these codes, these laws, these rules, or certain things, certain standards, certain patterns of behavior or whatnot are just looked at as a norm that are so normal, you know. And I think the thing that I really respect about comedians is like they see through the bullshit like the majority of the people do, and they're not afraid to just talk about the fact that this is bullshit, right? Like I think that's one of the key things that makes them so crucial is like there's people out there who can acknowledge that this is fucking stupid.
Right.
You know, like this is...
You are putting your head down and charging through. You're the bulldozer that's like, hey, don't forget about this stuff. This is actually happening.
Right, exactly. And
It's
that's one of those
important.
things where people would would come to me and just be like, thank you for like saying that, you know? I know there's going to be a lot of people who like I'm not for everybody. Absolutely not. Because I have a very specific way of like thinking, saying things. I have a very like kind of twisted sense of humor or whatnot. And I don't really care, you know, whose opinion is about it. So I'm going to say what the fuck I want to say and what I need to say.
You have to be authentically you. That's how you guys do it with
like,
your rap.
It took a really long time. And I brought this up in the first time that we did a podcast and that one lost. But yeah, I'll bring it up again. But like, I remember a post that you had made on Facebook or whatnot where you were talking about like, you know, there's always going to be like 80% of the people that see your stuff are kind of going to be haters or they're going to be disliking or they're going to have something negative to say about it. But there's going to be this small portion of people, 20% of them, that like love what you're doing and that they're into it, you know? And basically like, if I'm remembering correctly, like the point of the post was like, if you spend a lot of time worrying about the 80%, you know, and trying to please them, even though they don't like you already, you're neglecting this 20% of people who do like you, who do fuck with you, who think that the stuff that you're saying is important. It's awesome. It's cool. The music, whatever.
The people who message you.
Yeah.
Those are the 20%.
Like when you spend time thinking about like, why doesn't this person listen? Why doesn't this person pay? Why don't I get reactions from this person? Yeah. Like, why do these people feel this type of like that? It can be kind of toxic because then you start getting wrapped up in the fact that people have negative opinions about you. As opposed to wrapping yourself in the fact that there's people who have positive opinions about you. And you basically wrapped it up in saying that the more you focus on this 20%, that's going to turn into this, like the 80% into the majority, because people feel like the genuineness and the authenticity when you're doing something and you have like a purpose for doing it, you know, and that you've really, really been about this type of thing. So after some time, people are going to start to see that. And that's true. I had so much anxiety about what people thought about me and how I was being perceived and this and that, you know, and I'd say things like I would get anxiety just like I'd be about to make a post and suddenly like my heart's beating. I'm like, dude, how are people going to take this?
I'm with you, bro.
You know
those same
like,
posts that I would post that you're talking about, I would do a lot of my like motivational, inspirational. I'm going to try to help people a little bit with advice.
It's like, what if it doesn't go anywhere? Dude, it's not going to get any likes.
Like I would I would post it and then reread it immediately. I'm like, how does it look as I'm scrolling through? I always
try to change perspectives.
Yeah, but I do also enjoy. I think it's maybe a stem of like a little bit of my like obsessive compulsive behavior, but I like the layout of something. Like, so once it's completed, like in the picture frame and then standing back on my hands on my hips to look at it, mowing the yard and like just staring at it for 10 seconds when you're done, those sort of things. So I think there is a lot of that they know about. It's aesthetically pleasing on social medias, but yeah, a lot of times we have that like nervous, like, oh my God, did what I just say just break everything? Like, is everybody going to hate me? Did they misunderstand me? social media adds that kind of weird layer. So let's talk about social media. It's cool because I was always, career-wise, and like kind of how people know me, what I would say was always like DJing, right? Like that's kind of like how I was known. But I was also kind of, since 2010 or 11, since I got Facebook, I've always posted these long, like, hey, like I was kind of had this thought, and I think that like you guys should take better care of yourselves, and here's how I've taken care of myself. I don't know, like whatever, like some sort of inspirational, motivational. Like I never wanted to be like a life coach or a therapist or like a conversationalist or whatever the heck is happening. Like, but looking back, it's like, oh, I have been posting those things. I have been inspiring people. The same thing that you got, people would message you and say like, dude, you made me laugh today. Thank you so much. People would message me like all these years and say like, dude, that hit me hard. Thanks. I needed to hear that. Yeah. Those sort of things. I like where you're going. I think that you're an awesome rapper, and I think that everything you're doing, event planning too, and I don't think you should ever stop any of those things. But I just want to let you know that I don't know you super well, but I'm super on board with you being a comedian. I think that it follows, like, I know that we kind of paint Facebook and Twitter into these like dorky kind of like funny meme worlds, but as a pagan history, that sounded weird, a peg, like boom, pointing, hammering a peg into history. I still can't say it right.
Pegging history.
Yeah, but at this point in history, so let's say we're looking at history on a timeline, like, just because it's the dorky little F with the blue and then it's the cute little bird on Twitter, doesn't mean these things aren't huge. A lot of our development as young men was from Facebook, and that's how we learned about our society. We learned about our culture. It's an unfortunate
truth.
It's crazy, right? And it's something that's like, this is just like a pastime, and it's just a silly like thing we do that everybody just does. But there was a part of you that was taking some of that serious, and there was a part of me that was taking some of that serious on my side. It's not that I was only funny, or not that you were only funny on social media and I was only advice giving on social media. Like, we had different areas of our life where we're always these ways, but it's kind of interesting to look like, if we joke about and don't take these Twitter and Facebook seriously in some senses, but it's a lot of who we are and our upbringing, and a lot of like, I think that, maybe if people didn't message you and say, or give you a like, or say like, hey, I do appreciate this, like maybe you wouldn't have like tried so hard and kept like full force going.
Oh, I absolutely need like some kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like affirmation from people.
Oh, totally.
I do. Otherwise, I feel like I'm a piece of shit, right? Like I can make something. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. Put it out, and maybe Facebook algorithm is on some dumb shit that day, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And I'm like, fuck, it sucks. It's horrible. Yeah. Nobody likes it.
And then you start listening to it in ways that you're like, this does suck, huh?
Yeah,
you like convince yourself ways that it sucks.
If people don't kind of give me that fucking validation, that's the word I was looking for. If I don't get the
there you go, right?
Yeah, if I don't get validation from people, then I feel like I'm failing,
Right.
And that's something that I've kind of had to like train myself to stop doing so much, because I was putting a lot of weight onto what people's opinions were. Right. Like, it never came across that way. I've always appeared as a person who does not give a fuck what you think. Right. But I said this thing that only people who don't give a fuck what you think would say, but I'm back here like, fuck. Why'd I say that? Why'd I say that? And then now I gotta double down on it. I gotta stick with it because I said it,
Right.
And after some time, the nerves about it went away. And now I'm like, for me, once I started paying attention to that 20%, I'm more comfortable with myself than I've ever been, because like, I don't give a shit if you don't like me. Like, I love what I'm doing. Right now, like
inspires the fuck out of me, man.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. That means so much. That means so much to hear, because like, we've been working at it so hard for so long, and like, this is the first time I'd say really in like 2019 on, like, this is when I'm like really, really feel like, I'm starting to come into the artist that I've always wanted to be. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm starting to sound the way I wanted to sound as a rapper, as a hip hop artist. I'm saying the things that I felt like I should be saying. I'm making the kind of jokes as a comedian that I should have, that I've always wanted to be making. I'm getting reactions from people that I've always wanted to be getting. Like, I'm finally coming into it, and people are seeing it. And people are starting to acknowledge the fact, like, oh, damn. Like, and for a lot of people, it comes across as like, tell me if you think that, like, a lot of people might look at you and assume that you're just a lot more successful than you really are, because the way you're portrayed on like social media
Mm-hmm.
or just the way kind of people around perceive
Small
you, right?
town fame
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
I mean,
Like-
that's
people are like just like, oh dude, like, you know, I just put out we just had a song come out, me and my buddy, his name is Jorana Coyle. We have an EP coming out, but we just put out our first single, and we've been working on an EP for the last year. We just put out our very, very first song together.
name it. What's the name?
It's called No Explanation by Coyle and Payne. It's on Spotify, it's everywhere. It's an incredible song. It's for the ladies.
Ooh.
You know,
It's enjoyable though.
it's
I
like
liked it.
it's a very like club banger type song, but it's like it praises independent women and just independence in females and women. And
When
things
does
like
the
that.
rest of the video came out? Because I know there was a
Yeah,
teaser.
so we put out a teaser with it, and that was just, you know, the rest of the video is going to come out in February. We are filming the rest of it next week. As of right now, we just have like performance takes or whatnot, and we decided to drop a little like teaser of that with the performance takes, just to kind of get people more intrigued into actually listening to the song, you know, because it's a really dope song. Like, you know, again, I'm finally at a place where I'm more confident in the stuff that I'm putting out than I've ever been before, and it sounds so phenomenal. The rest of the project is going to be crazy too, but that just came out, and I'm responsible for the videos for that too. So we have a friend of ours. I've been filming videos for the entire team, like for the team, not the entire team yet, but we have plans for all of 2020. But I'm doing videos for them. I'm responsible for doing the videos for everybody in the team, on top of my own videos. So I got a buddy of mine, his name is Igor Mudrak, and he is starting to hold the camera for me. You know, I'm finally giving it to someone and trusting them with it. And
is he a videographer, or are you kind of like teaching him, or like
he's I'm not even
kinda-
he's into it without me, like independent of me. Like he loves it, and like he's upgrading his equipment. He, like, you know, we just got an actual stabilizer because he wanted a stabilizer, and he's looking into buying all these things, like this camera right here that we have. This is Ryan's camera, and I'm just so grateful that he allows me to use it and to play with it and to do things with it, because he knows that's my passion, that I'm getting really good at it, you know, video wise.
You know, you guys have the coolest friend. I mean, again, I keep mentioning all of you, like the half boys. Like, you guys are just like, I'm gonna work on this thing and then come back and show my friend. Well, he works on this thing and he's gonna come back and show me. I feel like you guys collab on so much stuff together,
and it's gotten so
great.
much better. We doubled up on the team this last year. It used to be just me, Ryan, and Giannis, and now we've included Ryan's love, Carissa. We've included Roulette Delgado, who is an incredible artist, and he's been killing it in Murder.
Yeah,
he did Moda Center this year. That's crazy.
Oh, that's right. He was
And he had Ryan on stage with him.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right. That's
Moda
so
Center,
tight,
dude.
Yeah, Moda Center.
That like, you know, and so he's a part of the team now. And then we have Just Wild, and I just did a music video for him. I did a music video for Roulette Delgado as well, but those two are out already. Just Wild, it's a song called Star Kid. Roulette, it's a remix to a song called Dear Rose. But I just did videos for both of them. And they turned out so dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just, you know, I try to stay busy.
You definitely
I
do.
forgot what the original question even was, but
talk about this. Your song that just came out. Let's expand on the song itself.
No Explanation. Okay, so No Explanation. It's between me and Jorana D. Coyle the third. I didn't give his full name the first time, but he is an incredible artist and somebody that I've looked up to for a very long time. And he approached me a year and a half ago and was like, "Hey, we should make some songs together." And I freaked out. Like, I was fangirling.
Right.
I was like, what? This is crazy, you know? Cause he's so dope. He's such a talented artist. And so we started working on music together, but, No Explanation, that one we just felt like it's a really quick song. It's just 2 minutes long. I do the hook. He does the verse. I do the hook again, and the song is over. But like I said, it kind of just praises independence and women and the independent woman, and it just kind of like from my hook, it kind of comes from the perspective of me talking to somebody and basically letting them know, like, dog, you should probably just, you know, pump the brakes.
Right.
You don't have a chance here, bro. Like
Cool
she's not that type of girl. Like you don't got a chance there. Like, this is the type of woman that she is, and he, Gerana wrote his verse, off the same thing. Cause I had sent him the song with the hook already and whatnot. And was like, this is kind of what I'm thinking. I want you to do the verse, and we got to talk, she's independent. She doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's just a bad bitch, like whatever, without saying bad bitch, because we don't disrespect. But it's a very club banger. Right. But it's kind of like a positive one, like this is one that I wouldn't even have a problem. It's got a few swear words, but I would let my daughter listen to it and be like, girl, this is the vibe you need to be on. Like, independent. You don't have time for fuck boys. You don't have time for any of the bullshit. Like, get it, go get it. Like, it's you. Just do it. And so that's kind of what the song is about,
I feel it.
Yes.
I feel it.
It's fun. It's a really fun song. I love it.
How do you, when you first initially, so the first concepts, like obviously it starts with an idea. When you first get the idea, what's your situation? Like I had my homie Kendall Johns on here. He's a singer of a metal band.
Yeah, I know Kendall Johns. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So he was talking about his writing process. He's like, dude, like I get 2 vodka sodas at the bar and I just get fucked up, and then the lyrics start coming. Like he gives out his process. What's your process for comedy and for lyric writing, or even just, because you write out elaborate ideas, no doubt, I'm sure. But what do you just try to catch it on the fly and throw it into the notes, or what's your process?
Yeah, that's funny that he gets inspired off of like alcohol. That's funny because for me, once I start sipping on any alcohol, the like creative process just kind of goes out the window for me.
No shit.
And I don't want to focus on it anymore. It's for me like weed kind of sparks the creative process more than anything.
That's how I am too.
Like that's so before I start writing, before I start editing, before I start doing anything like that, I usually like to take a hit or two of weed, like that kind of gets me kind of zoned in on it,
Right.
As far as writing process for music, I try to look for inspiration everywhere. For a long time, a lot of my music, like the lyrics were just kind of like, I'm dope, you're not dope. That's
rapping,
really good.
Man. Like
exactly.
You guys are good at enunciation and word flow and pronunciation.
And I spent a lot of time just trying to improve myself, and so a lot of the lyrics come out just braggadocious because I'm just trying to see how much I could rhyme, what kind of schemes I can play with, what kind of metaphors I can drop, things like that. So it's just kind of training the tongue type of a situation for a long time. But now I try to find more inspiration everywhere else, and I do write based on my life a lot. I haven't put out a lot of like super personal music, but that's because like I'll write the personal stuff, and that's enough therapy for me. Right. I'll write it like it helps me, like writing about what I'm going through or whatever as music. It helps me process it a lot better because as I'm writing it, I kind of put myself through a level of therapy and like trying to explore why I feel the way I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like I have this song, it never came out, but there's a verse on it where I started writing it, and I started writing it about my dad. Right. And about all the anger I had towards my father. And it was about halfway through the verse as I'm writing this and trying to just express how I feel, what he did to our family and how much he fucked it up, that like, this is how I feel about you as a person. This like, and I'm just kind of listing off these qualities on who I really know he is and not who people think he is. Because, I get the whole like put on a show thing from my dad. My dad is an awesome person. I'm not trying to speak ill on him or anything like that. We had a bumpy past, but like he's always been the person that people just like gravitate to and love. Like he's just got that persona, the charisma, like people just love who he is, and he's a really fun person, really easy to get along with, things like that. But I made this song and I just started calling out all these like terrible qualities and was like, people see this, but I see this, this and that. Right. So I was like tearing it, and it was halfway through this verse I looked back at what I wrote, and I was like, I'm talking about myself. I was in my 20s, and I was trying to vent all this anger and frustration for the type of person that I thought my dad was, and I like realized I was writing a verse about myself. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And it was, and that's the way that it was written, and like I was just like, shh, holy shit. Like,
wow.
like like that, the writing process, like that does that for me
Mhm.
sometimes, you know, because I just start to kind of explore things that I wouldn't have like had the time or the desire to even think
Right.
about. But now I'm trying to think about how to like make all this rhyme and get all this right amount of
Right.
emotion out. And I have the song recorded. I just never put it out because I never had a chord. Never
Dude,
got a
yo,
chorus
now we're up
put
to
out
2
on it.
unreleased tracks.
Right.
We
Well,
need some from the old days.
there's-
We need your first track out too.
I probably have like somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 to 30 recorded songs that are just never came out.
Oh, no doubt.
Probably more than that for sure. But
I mean, in a
yeah,
million starts.
yeah, you know, but this was a powerful song. This is one that I really wanted to put out, and I probably will someday because like the way that it ties up is actually super powerful.
There's no rush, man.
So I write this whole verse, and it's like, you know, you never hear me like address my father. You just assume that based on what I'm talking about, he's probably talking about his dad or like a parental figure that walked out on him or whatnot. Like that's just kind of what it sounds. So I never directly address it. And so the whole time, like I have the listener believing that they're listening to me like chastising my father. But because I realized what I realized halfway through it, you know, I continued the verse as I needed to. In the very last lines where it was still kind of, I was kind of addressing him. It was like, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you're about because I'm talking about myself. So like the song ends with me saying, cause I'm talking about myself. And so if you listen to the verse,
the door, man.
if you listen to the verse the first time, you're like, he's talking about his dad. When you go and listen to it the second time through, and put the fact that I'm talking about myself, it like unlocks and opens so many more. Then it's like, oh shit,
yeah, damn,
fuck,
yeah.
You know. So I try to, for my writing process, I try to pull as much inspiration I can from what's actually going around me. But I don't like writing in like a direct way of like, this is exactly kind of what I'm going through. You know, I write about what it makes me feel like. You know,
Right.
So when I'm trying to write like a deeper emotional song, I'm not writing about what's happening. I'm writing about how I feel about what's happening. Right. So then that way, when someone's listening to it, they're not listening to my story. They're listening to their own because they're just relating feelings. Right. So they're relating how just something like sentiments and things like that,
Right.
you know, so I'm not describing my situation, you know, bold face. I'm describing it on like an emotional or like on a spiritual level almost, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody listens to it, it's not just like, damn, this kid's been through some shit. It's just like, fuck, me too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so like that's how I try to write it. And I mean, aside from that, the rest of the stuff that I try to do, I really like high energy material and things like that. So I like a lot of my music is stuff you could work out to. You could like go on runs to, you could go and beat somebody's ass to. I don't know. It's like high energy, you know, that's just the fun for me, you know.
I feel like I need to throw some of you guys' shit on I have this playlist called You Wanna Fight Bitch? And it's got a lot of like Puya and Suicide Boys and stuff. I feel like I should throw you on
I got some songs to recommend for that playlist.
All right, I'm gonna have you got to hit me with like your top 3. I'm gonna throw them on the playlist.
Absolutely. Here's the thing though, like I've grown so much, especially in the last like 2 years as an artist and overall, that the stuff that I have out online now, aside from, you know, not including what just came out, I don't even like it anymore, you know, because I feel like I've come so much farther, you know.
Isn't it such a weird gift and curse? Some sort of like bittersweet, weird situation.
At the time, you're like, this is the dopest shit I've ever done, ever.
Represents me in every way.
And then next year, it's just like, please stop talking about that, you know.
Do you think about famous people who have like a top 40 song that gets popular? And they just have to tour the world and just say the same thing.
That's all they can.
And then they're like, think about like
years.
NSYNC and stuff. They're like 30 years later. They're like, we have to.
Are they still touring?
Or I don't know, Backstreet Boy, or is it one of them touring?
Are they? Probably. Backstreet's touring. Wow, crazy, dude.
Yeah, they're back, all right.
Or like Smash Mouth. They got one song that they were allowed to do ever.
What song? What Smash Mouth have?
The one on Shrek. Hey now, you're a rock star.
Right. No, I feel like I have other songs. I feel like when I
you
play at
feel
certain
like,
bars,
but you don't. What do you?
I'm
Can't
a DJ
name
though.
one.
I know I can't,
You can't
even
name
but
one.
I feel like when I play at bars where it's like, let's make these motherfuckers sing because they're pretty drunk. I can find some Smash Mouth. Maybe it is just All Star. I could be just.
I know I've never listened to any Smash Mouth aside from All Star.
That's a damn good song though. You can't deny. And Shrek's a wonderful
it goes,
movie.
dude. That goes hard. It goes hard.
Okay,
Shout out to Smash Mouth.
You all stars. Give me a little lowdown on your comedy side of writing. Is this different, or like have you had like, have you had to be like, oh, I have to be a more funny person or a less serious person, like to be in the mindset of like someone who's writing rap songs that can be listened to in the gym. You're not going to be like always in a super joking mood all the time, so these are like different areas of your psyche, of your emotional person that you lock into like sometimes for a couple hours while you write songs, but sometimes it's like I got to live this way for a few weeks so I can lock into the character of sorts. When it comes time to like for you to start like writing comedy to where like, okay, I'm going to perform this on stage. Let's talk about that area. Like when you started approaching the comedy and started writing your comedy to actually perform.
So, we'll go into that first performance because that was definitely the best one that I've had. And I did like half an hour on stage. I planned for like 18 minutes or something like that, and I was on there for 33.
And when it's your own show, I guess.
Go at it.
I think you were at the end anyway, right, or something close to it.
It was towards the end. Yeah, it was right before the last music set, which was our own, and then I got way too drunk and ruined that. Sorry, Ryan. Love you, bro. I got way too drunk during the comedy set, but the way I prepared for that one, I wanted to like the thing that's different about the way I did my first comedy show and the way that other people might have done their comedy shows is most of the people that are starting out to doing comedy, they're going to like, a comedy club or an open mic night or something like that, where they're just kind of in that world. And, you might get like a few minutes on stage here or something like that. And so you just kind of got to kill with that. But when we had the opportunity presented to, have our own show, and I was like, Ryan, let me do comedy. Like I knew that I'm going to get no less than 15 minutes, so I could be on there and just kind of shine as long as I wanted to, and it ended up being half an hour. So I was trying to plan for just 15 to 20 minutes. Ended up being a half an hour because, like you start getting inspired up there and saying other things and whatnot. It was great. But the way I tried to plan for that, I knew who the audience was going to be. Mm-hmm. I knew it was going to be people who already fuck with us. I knew it was going to be people who already follow me on Facebook. So they already know that, like, if I'm saying something, it's going to be funny and whatnot. So I already was going to be going on stage with the thought in mind that the people out there already know me. They already know I'm funny. So they're expecting to laugh. And because of that, they're going to laugh more already. Right. So I kind of had that benefit, That's
a great confidence to be able to lock into.
Exactly.
I mean, I know that being like a popular DJ in the area, like if I know that I'm going to have like 20 homies in the crowd, I'm probably going to be a little more cocky in my dance.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. You already know these people fuck with you already. So this is going to go well.
It's just like having your boys with you at all times. You just feel awesome.
Exactly. And then I did have all my boys with me. So it was perfect. So I already knew who the audience was going to be, and I'd had enough time, doing my Facebook comedian shit to kind of know what people are reacting to and what they're not reacting to. So I've already had, how some people might say, I've had my ear to the streets, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been picking up on what's cool, what's not, what people are talking about, what's not. So I really like orchestrated that whole set to be geared at millennials. And to be geared at just certain things that, are common among millennials and that are funny. So like I had jokes about, single moms. That was a great one. I had jokes about single moms. I had jokes about like, guys and just kind of like over described what your typical white guy is supposed to be like and just kind of was like, this is not me. And then I had like 12 minutes on dick pics.
Yeah, the dick pic thing was hilarious because you had a slideshow.
No, I did not have a slideshow for the dick pic thing.
Just kidding.
That I don't know how I'd
What
get
if-
away with that.
It's just like, here's
That's
some
bad.
dick pics, and they're just actual dick pics on a
So
slideshow.
dick pics.
Hey, bro,
guys, what's up with
next
this?
time- like, so all of these guys are in the crowd.
So like a lot of what I wrote, I was already kind of thinking, I was like, these are things that like, millennials might be talking about, might be laughing about already or whatnot. And then it was just my own personal spin on things, because I know, like I said, I'm not for everybody, but there is just a certain spin on my comedy that's unique to me. And it's to the point where like people will send me certain things, certain memes, certain jokes, and be like, "This made me think of you." This made me think of you. Like, and that makes me feel so good when people do that.
Okay.
You're just like, I'm like leaving an impression. Yeah. So yeah, the way I wrote that whole thing, I actually I put myself through like boot camp for that set, because I wrote it all out. I was like, okay, this might be funny, this might be funny, this might be funny. And then I kind of went in and started expanding on each of these things. And then what I did was I actually got an audio recording of me just saying it out loud, and just reading out what I'm supposed to say. And I just started listening back to it over because I had 3 months to prepare or something like that. So I was prepared months in advance,
You don't
so,
wait till the last second.
yeah, I was just listening. I'd be listening to it. And then I was like, okay, this whole segment's not that fucking funny. I need to get rid of this, and I need to hear, and I need to have it go through a few different times to kind of catch a different perspective on it and be like, this isn't as funny as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
You know what I'm
How
saying?
has that been? Has that been a lot of shit like discouraging? Is that God
It-
dang
it
it,
is,
man, I
because-
really thought that was hilarious, but honestly that sucked or whatever.
And it's the same thing. It's just kind of like, what, I might have said or posted something that I thought was really funny on Facebook, and then I didn't realize how people would take it, and then people start coming at me in the comments about what I just said or whatnot, and then I'm like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done
Could've been
that.
worded differently.
Yeah, maybe I could have worded that differently. Maybe
Yeah.
but at that point, I'm just like, I'm that person who doesn't give a fuck. So
Right.
I'm like, I double down on what I go with anyway, So I'm trying to avoid kind of falling into that kind of.
Yeah, no, dude,
thing,
you're gonna avoid it like a fucking champ.
Yeah,
There's no
so
doubt about it.
I
You handle it
practice
well.
it.
You're a lot of what you do on Facebook and what you do is a personality, and that's okay. So you're kind of you got to consider a comedian a lot of times, or even just someone in your position in this in society is kind of like the jester, who's not that they're back then they probably weren't allowed to make fun of the king and queen to the king and queen's face, but now what we have is the jester can kind of make fun of anything, the jester of our society. So it's important, but it's funny when you we have this world of deplatforming and I'm gonna find something that you said so long ago. And did you watch that Kevin Hart documentary on?
I haven't seen
Netflix?
it yet, but I do want to. I
Do
do
you like
want to
Kevin
check
Hart?
that one. I love Kevin Hart, dude. I think he's
so
great.
dope.
I think
love
he's
him.
great. A lot of people are
he's a
like,
great
"Oh, he's
inspiration.
overrated," and this. No, I think he's great, dude. I think he deserves all the success.
That's
that
always
he's
the
got.
weirdest sentence when people say that shit. No,
like
you
he
should watch it. But
He's
he
great.
talks about one thing he said long ago, and then people pulled it up, and they're like, "You think this?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't think that anymore. That was a
No.
joke back then. That in society it wasn't weird to
Well,
say."
and that was something that happened for me. I had ended up making a new Facebook page 2 or 3 years ago, because my original one I'd had from when I was 14 or 15 years old, and then when Facebook started doing memories. And just bringing back everything you posted on that day from however many years ago or whatever,
Right.
I started seeing so much just fucked up things that I had said that I thought, I'm 15, 16 years
Right.
old. I
Dude,
said
I'm totally
a
with
lot of
you.
dumb
I had a
shit,
MySpace. I had a
Yeah, and it kept popping up, and I'd just be deleting and deleting and deleting, and then it would be popping up oh, someone tagged you in this post, and now I'm in this post, and I'm reading myself in the comments, and I'm just dude, what the fuck?
Right.
I said some I'd be saying some really off the wall fucked up shit, and I remember as a 15, 16-year-old, my thing was oh, I want to push the boundary,
Right.
I want to piss people off, I
course.
want to do that, I didn't learn how to do that tastefully.
Dude, give
just
any
yet.
kid that power.
Yeah.
Give a punk rock kid a cell phone when they don't exist. He's I'm gonna tell the world.
I said things that it's if it was to come back years later, it would definitely bite me in the ass and could potentially be career destroying, because I said some foul shit in my day.
Well, dude,
and for me, it's I'm whatever, who cares? And then
Right.
once it starts popping up in the memories, I'm just like, So after deleting enough of those posts, I was like, I'm deleting this entire Facebook. It's just
Right.
starting
Let's just
brand
move
new.
on. It sucks. You have to be scared of it. I guess I do get it, but it's something that I
'Cause
want to make
people's-
apparent, dude.
People's careers get destroyed off that. Like he
it's
was
madness. You
Kevin
know?
Hart was going to be on, hosting the Grammys or the Oscars or something like
Right.
that. And then, he had a joke about, what if his son came and told him that he was gay or something like
Yeah.
that. And it kind of had to deal with that. And,
Yeah.
it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, sure, he could have phrased it differently, but he didn't say anything that was just like.
And back then, I remember laughing at the damn joke like it was
Yeah.
hilarious.
It was-
like,
it was
it
funny.
didn't stand out to me.
It
The
wasn't
way
something that you're like, oh, this is fucked up. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Well, the way that shit is going the last few years with like all the whole like people find one thing that you said way back, you tweeted way back then, and they found it. I mean, it probably started from like the presidency stuff, right? We found like, okay, our president like can't be saying things like this or
yeah.
grab her by the pussy. Like Jesus, like
Yeah.
that's insane. Our president said
Can't
that.
do that.
But so that sentence right there, like not the sentence itself, but just the fact that a president, a higher person, whatever, a presidential candidate at that time, got away with saying those things. There's a lot of people, it sparked a lot of people in the world who are like, wait, we can't say those things. And then so people get on a wild goose hunt and they start looking for everything. Everybody said that was bad. Everybody that was bad. It's a weird thing. We can't like evolve and get better. And dude, like I'd be willing to bet a lot of us when we were the ages of first getting social media at 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, whenever, said a lot of dumb stuff. I used to quote like every song that I listened to. I listened to a lot of Kid Cudi and I would post the whole lyrics online
Yes, sir,
and like act like it was me. So you can guess what I've said
yeah.
on social media. And it's still there. And if somebody wants to point out like, you said this at one point in my life, I'm like, yeah, I sure did. 100%. Yeah. If you look at the date, that's when it said, and like, oh, so you were 16. I'm like, yeah, I was 16.
Can we get like
Dude,
let that go?
I refuse to allow people to like try to, like deplatform people and like, you did this. Do we have to have room for change?
It's because people
It's
do
in
change, man.
growth
Like
and-
people genuinely, like my mind state has changed so much from when I was a kid. Like I grew up in the church and I had a very specific way of like looking at things at the time. And like now it's entirely different,
Right.
For the longest time, homosexuality was just the worst sin in the world for me, because they told me it was,
Yeah.
and
what you
it's
knew.
like after enough time, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like what? There's so many things that you guys are doing that are like even more fucked up
Right.
than two men loving each other. Like why are they on trial for
Right.
that shit? Like, and so like my mind state has changed a lot. Like I've come a very, very long way. A lot of people, if you were to ask people who knew me in high school, they would tell you I was like the biggest sexist, chauvinist, like pig ever.
Right.
I thought it was a part of my humor back then, but also I grew up in a Russian culture where the wife does
Right.
what the husband says. She stays at home. She cooks this and that, this, and that. Like, and
Exactly,
they
it's
love
different.
the women are fine with that. Like that's cool. When you're looking at like American culture, they're like, how dare you? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my
Right.
God. When you're looking at Russian culture, they're like, yeah, this is just life. This
Dude,
is how
I
it
think
is,
that people have a problem understanding like the basis sentences, like they don't understand that people are different, but like they really just stop and think about that. Like whatever you do in your life, like you go Monday through Friday to your job and you come home to your cottage in whatever Louisiana. But there's literally people who live a completely different life. It's not like they just have a different house and a different whatever. Like everything they do, the way that they speak, the things that they mean when they speak, like culture is so broad. And I think
it's
sometimes we try to
massive.
smash it together and it's like, it doesn't go like
No.
that. You got to be gentle. This is
No.
going to take many years for us to figure out. And in the meantime, we can't have people fucking running into the streets with tiki torches. Like, you said this 28 years ago, you suck. Like, Jesus, man, it's just madness. So I just, dude, more power to you. Keep saying what you're saying. Keep talking about the intelligent things that you're talking about. Cause I think it's seriously, again, comedians are intelligent and they're very important in society. And that was when I initially messaged you, like that was like I probably was just like super baked or something and saw one of your Facebook posts and I was like, oh my God, we got to talk about comedy in society. So,
Hell yeah.
but I do want to make sure we talk about anything in your artistry world. I want to make sure we're getting a little up here in time. I want to keep chatting for a little bit here, but make sure we've covered everything. Like we have your newest song released. Do you have anything coming up? Any shows coming up? What's coming up next for you guys in the coming year?
Let me hopefully be able to remember everything because there's just so much going on right now, which is awesome. This is what I wanted. So
give us locations and stuff too for people who don't know all the places you're talking about. Things exactly.
yeah, absolutely. So Next weekend, I'm shooting the remainder of the No Explanation music video. That's the song that just came out, Coil and Payne. Check us out on Spotify. I'm filming the rest of the music video next Saturday, and I'm hoping to have that music video out within the first half of February. I don't have a release date on it just yet. Depends on how next Saturday goes. But you know, we have an actress that's going to be in the video, and I think she's just going to elevate the quality of that project tenfold. You know. So that's happening within the next month. Currently working on a recap video for Half-Life Entertainment, just to kind of show people what our year was like in 2019, what we were able to accomplish, the benefit shows that we were doing, you know, our community outreach and whatnot. I'm working on a documentary for Roulette Delgado, kind of detailing his journey to the Moda Center. And kind of getting him prepared. He's got an album coming out in March, was it? Right, Giannis? Coming out in March? I think it was coming out in March. It's called Superhuman Volume 2. Right? Superhuman. I got that right.
When's National Women's Day?
March 8th.
Yeah, so it's
March 8th.
Okay,
perfect.
Roulette Delgado.
March 8th, Roulette Delgado, Superhuman Volume 2. I hope I'm getting that right. I think I am.
Yep.
And I'm featured on that project. Giannis is featured on that project. Ryan's featured on that project. The whole team is featured on that project. It's an amazing project. That's coming out. So I'm working on a documentary for that. We are about to get started on an entire video series for Canitas. Giannis, my little brother right back there, he put out an EP about a year or so ago. And we're building a whole film series out of the songs off of that EP. So that's going to be incredible. It's going to be an awesome thing to try out. On top of that, my own EP, the Coil and Payne EP, is supposed to come out probably in April.
You spell coil.
Coil, Coyle.
I just didn't want someone to go to Spotify and be like, what?
Yeah. Coil, like,
Right.
you know, recoil? No, Coil, Coyle, the and symbol, Payne. Coil and Payne. We kind of sound like divorce lawyers. That's what it sounds like.
Cool, it's catchy.
Coil and
Sketchy
Payne.
divorce lawyer.
Exactly. But no, we have an EP coming out. We're hoping to have that out in March or April. We have several different music videos that we're planning for that are going to be amazing. Again, I'm just taking over the whole videography aspect for the team, and I intend for those to just keep getting better and better because that's something that we really thrive with. And so we're doing all that. Next February, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this yet. So if
I can take this part out, just let me know.
Okay, I think it'll be fine. I just don't have all the details on it yet. But Andrew Kiggins is putting on a show at the Regent in Longview on February 15th. It's going to be a comedy show, and I've been asked to perform on that one. So I am going to be showing up and doing a set over at the Regent in Longview, February 15th. So
excellent.
And then on February 22nd. Half-Life Entertainment is putting on another show, and we're going to be at the Cruise Room Annex in Portland, Oregon. Cruise Room, CRUZ Room. And that's happening on the 22nd of February. We have a show coming up. That's going to be music. I'm not doing comedy at that one, but I will be performing my music.
I love that you're still doing all this stuff. Like you're just still doing all of it. It's so great.
There's so much.
There's like, let's add one more thing.
Yeah, right.
Like you have a life outside of it. You have a job, you work, you're a father. Like,
yeah, I know. Like,
it's just incredible, man. It's great.
I'm forgetting something. I know I'm forgetting something right now, but there's something else that's coming out that I am absolutely is slipping my mind.
So after February 15th,
February 15th is comedy, and then February 15th is comedy at the Regent in Longview, Washington. February 22nd is music at the Cruise Room Annex in Portland, Oregon, with Half-Life Entertainment, the entire team, and they are an incredible and talented group of people. So you guys should absolutely come out if you're able to any of those shows.
Who is officially in Half-Life?
So Ryan Reed.
You want to do a little bio on him, just as a homie.
On Ryan?
Yeah,
absolutely.
On each everybody.
On everybody? Yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely, man. Let me introduce you guys to my team really quickly. Okay, so Ryan Reed, me and him go way back to first grade when he first moved up to Kelso, Washington. Me and him have been friends since then. We both started HiCap, which is a program that you go to once a week when you're in elementary school. And so we became closer friends because of that program.
Because you're smart.
Because
stupid.
I
Yeah.
guess I wasn't trying to go there, but it's for, high cap. It stands for highly capable and gifted. I'm not trying to flaunt that right now because I don't think I'm that smart. But that's kind of where we built a relationship. And back then, me and him, like, we kind of wanted to do music together anyway. And this is like 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't know what we were going to do. So I had moved off to Vancouver when I was 12, and me and him started doing hip hop music individually. On our own terms, and then we came back together when we were about 18 years old. And over the time, we had like had each other on MySpace, and we're just kind of going back and forth about the music and helping each other, critiquing each other's songs, things like that. And so we kind of built this kind of relationship on like, oh, we're homies, we both rap, let's kind of help each other out with that. Ryan is the founder of Half-Life Entertainment. Back then, it was Half Clan Entertainment. But he's the one that kind of started that whole brainchild. And then at 18 years old, he asked me to come on and be a hype man for him at a show. It worked out really well. We made a whole entire mixtape with each other that summer, the summer of 2012. It was legendary. It was epic. It was called Get Hyphy. I know there's people out there who remember that and probably still have that CD with them. It was awesome, but that was the first project that we put out together. And ever since then, we've just been taking Half-Life Entertainment a lot seriously. We changed it from Half Clan to Half-Life, for obvious reasons when you start talking about them. But Ryan Reed is the founder and really the big dog of Half-Life Entertainment.
And he produces and raps.
He's a producer. He's a phenomenal producer. He makes his own music. He's a great rapper. And he is the one who has been pulling the strings behind the scenes for all of these shows that we're doing and the benefit shows and whatnot. So he's really kind of championed taking the business side of things and trying to make sure that we're looking good as a company, as a business. And so he's kind of responsible for those kind of the really big decisions and things like that. And we've been building that together for a really, really long time. And we kind of specialize in our own separate areas. But he was the one who was responsible for getting my brother Giannis on board, because Giannis was like, I want to be a part. And I was like, nah, dude, you ain't about none. And so then he went to Ryan and he was like, hey, Ryan, I want to be. Ryan was like, yeah, of course. So I was like,
It was a couple of months.
I
I didn't backstab my brother.
I was like, all right, that's cool.
he hangs up the phone. I'm going to call Ryan right now.
And then in August of we'll get to that part. So then that's Ryan. Then we have Giannis Kanitis. That's my brother. You guys have met him. He is an R&B musician. He is incredible. He has an EP out. It's called Past Chasers. That's on Spotify. Kanitis. That's KANIDE-IS. Very simple. It's kind of spelt the way it sounds.
Well, it's better to spell it. Sometimes it does brain fart. Yeah,
it does. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, he makes incredible music. We're about to get started on the whole film series for his EP. It's already out. He's got new music that's coming up the pipeline. That's really awesome. And you're probably going to get him on the show, and he can go in more into depth about that. So it was me, Ryan, and Giannis for a very long time, and then in summer of last year, Ryan came to me and he was like, hey man, I'm thinking about like adding these extra people. And so we started working with Justin Wiley, who at the time was going under the name Cold Bones. And we had performed at a couple different hip hop shows with him way back in the day, back in like 2014, 2015. We did a few shows at the Hawthorne with him, and I remember seeing him, I'm like, this kid can spit, like this kid's dope. He's really cool. So I always kind of had him on my radar anyway. And then we had each other on Facebook for a while or whatnot. But I remember there was at some point he had made this post and he was like, hey, like I'm putting on the final touches on this EP that I've been working on for a while. I need one more guest feature. Who wants to get on it? And I like came in. I was like, sup? I'll talk to you later. I was like, what's up? Like, yeah, let's do it. And so we were going to do this song together. And that was actually before I moved to Minnesota back in 2018, summer of 2018. I moved to Minnesota for about a year. But before I left, I got into the studio with this kid and we did this song together. And then we had also performed a show together, where I got on, it was his show. And he asked me to come on and do the song that I was featured on with him. And so I did that, and that's kind of how I knew him. Like that's where we really kind of got to know each other personally. And then I left to Minnesota, And I came back for the show that we did the rap battle at. And that same weekend, I made a music video for Cold Bones for Justin Wiley. And it was a remix to one of his songs that I put a verse on as well, to Glow Up. So the first song we did together was called Disco Spaceland by Cold Bones and Dopamine. And then the second one was the Glow Up remix, also featuring me. And so I made the music video for that song while I was out here for a few days. And then I went back to Minnesota. And so I had him on that show, I believe. I talked Ryan into putting him on that show, and he put on such a killer performance that we were just like, dude, we fuck with this kid. And so we kept asking him to come back to more of our shows. And like, he's got this really super dope kind of like party vibe. Like, all of his stuff is really fun. It's super fun to listen to. Like, you know, he's got really cool flows, really, really crispy type of a style. Like, he's a badass. Like, he's a cool little kid. And so he's done a bunch of shows with us. And then Roulette Delgado came on the first time with the Dornbecker show. And actually, we did a cypher, a whole Half-Life ENT cypher, where it was me, Ryan, Giannis, and then we had Roulette and Justin on there. And then Carissa, Ryan's girlfriend, she filmed it. She filmed
that's all on YouTube, right?
Yeah, and that's on YouTube. You can find us at Half-Life Entertainment. That's HAF. No L in there. Half-Life Entertainment. Anyway, so that cypher was the first time we had all worked together on like one thing together as like a whole team. So they weren't even a part of Half-Life Entertainment just yet. But we had the Dornbecker show coming up. And so, was it the Dornbecker show? Yeah, it was the Dornbecker show. Yeah. We had the Dornbecker show coming up, and so we were like, we're gonna get all these artists to perform on one cypher real quick, you know, because we had chosen them for this show, and so we decided to do the cypher. Just everybody that's on this show has also got one song together. Like, that's cool. That's awesome, you know. And so that was the first time we all worked together. That was the first time I met Roulette Delgado, and then he did the show for us, and he has such an incredible story. Man has been through a lot. Is
he more R&B?
Yeah, so he's a rap. He will rap your fucking face off, dude. Like, this dude will rip you apart when it comes to that. But he is also his style on R&B and singing is fucking amazing.
What genre-ish does he consider himself as?
I would say it's probably R&B, soul, and hip hop.
It's urban
Urban soul. There you go. Urban soul. Yeah.
It's so hard with genres, right?
But it's definitely R&B, because you pick up so many vibes of like really popular R&B songs from like early 2000s and things like that. Some Neo, some Usher. You just
he's got that rapper lyric, like, to where it's like when you're listening to like a rapper rap, you're listening to what the words they're saying. Yeah. He pulls you in with that.
He's got a story, man. He has got a story. The man has been through so much, and I think that's what really drew me to him first. He had a really dope verse on the cypher, but then we did the show, and he told the story in between each song. And he did this, you know, the way he did it, where he would talk about himself and kind of give a background to what he was about to sing, and then he would sing this song with like the music video for it playing behind him. You know, it was amazing. He put on this incredible performance, and I was just like, holy shit.
Super
like, I didn't know it. It was, yeah. Like he inspires the hell out of me, that guy. Like, and his level of talent is just unmatched. He's one of the Portland artists that more people know of than most of the other guys, and he deserves every bit of it. He was able to do the Moda Center in front of 19,000 people, and he deserd every single minute of it. He is an incredible person. He's a champion for the LGBTQ community. I hope I said that right.
LGBTQIA+.
Yeah, okay, yes. That one. Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but he's a champion for that. He's very, very open about it. He did the Moda Center with a rainbow flag around his neck, you know, and he just promotes love. He promotes positivity. He is an incredible artist. Definitely somebody you guys got to check out, Roulette Delgado. And then finally there is Carissa Cardenas, and she is also, hope I said that last name right. She is Ryan's girlfriend, and she is one of the most talented and incredible singers you've ever heard. Her voice is so fucking powerful. Right. You hear her just bust into something, you're like, what?
I know it's a typical sentence, but she was such a ball of nerves before she did her first one. And it was like, once she started going, I'm like, oh my God, what are you nervous for?
Dude,
like,
it's crazy.
is the typical thing, of course.
We heard her for, like years before she got on stage with it. And I was always just like, dude, like for me personally, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think she's one of the most talented members of Half-Life Entertainment. You know, like she doesn't have a whole lot of songs out. She hasn't done a whole lot of live performances, but her talent is there. I feel like she was born with it. Honestly, like she starts to sing on some, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, I've got
You're
some.
just in.
I want to in the future. There's a couple ideas that I have. One time we were down here. Oh, when we first did that podcast. I remember I walked down here, and y'all were just like goofing off and hanging out and like having drinks and hanging out down here. And Ryan and his girlfriend were playing. It was like they started singing like Jay-Z and Beyonce or some shit together. And I was like, what is happening? This is so dope. I was like, it was this moment where I walked in and they're like doing this cover and her voice sounds good. And Ryan's going on the piano. You guys are just having a good time.
And they have a song together. They've done it. They've done it a few times live, but they have a song together that they do. They have 3 songs. Are they out? Or how much of them have they done together? Like on stage though?
They've done 3 on stage.
Oh, they've done 3 on stage?
None of them are out.
None of these songs are out, but they do have music. They have like an entire
video,
EP they've been working.
Whatever they do, music video wise for those.
It's going to be awesome. And I definitely think they will, and I definitely think they should, because that's such a power couple move. The dude can, like, he's producing all the music that she can sing on, and then just lacing them with some bars.
Well,
so they're a fantastic couple.
Well, and they really inspire each other, and you can see that.
Oh, absolutely.
And they enjoy each other's
absolutely.
company. And a couple of friends.
I thank Carissa. I think she kind of like, I think her being a part of Ryan's life has like brought a lot out of him. And I think it's definitely made him a better person, and a much better artist and businessman, and I think they can build off of each other. Absolutely. 100%. And I think that's so dope. And I'm with them, hanging out with them, or like seeing pictures on it. I get like, how you just get into a relationship where you both want the same thing, and this is odd. Like, what? Why not me?
Where
like,
did you find this?
This is awesome, so they're incredible. I love them to death. And she is an amazing artist, and I think she's also, just as a person, she's a really dope ass person she's really motherly, especially when it comes to everybody else on Half-Life Entertainment. And she keeps us straight. She keeps her opinions in there. She's really, really good about making sure that, like if she's not down with it, she's going to let you know that she's not down with it or whatnot. Like, she doesn't.
The group probably needs that more than anything.
Absolutely, dude. So like, her and Ryan are just an awesome power couple. And I think, when Ryan came to me in, I think it was like August or September of last year, and he was like, I want Justin, Roulette, and Carissa to be a part of Half-Life Entertainment officially. I was like, yes, there's no hesitation, no argument, no anything. I have so much love for each one of these people. I have so much respect for each of these people. Their artistry is amazing. It's incredible, and it inspires me. It motivates me. And, now I'm responsible for creating the visuals to all their audio work, and that's such a phenomenal feeling and responsibility. And knowing that so far between Roulette, between Justin, and I've made music videos for Ryan Reed as well, when they get it and they're just like, fuck yes, this right here, so I know I did something that they wanted but they weren't expecting, and a lot of times that's how it comes out. They weren't expecting for it to show up, look like that, and so having
they
that
allow
kind
you
of
to
reaction,
be an artist as
absolutely.
well, is the thing.
And especially the new Just Wild video, Just Wild Star Kid. Check that video out. But he let me play. He let me kind of take free reign with that one. He had some ideas where he was like, I kind of want to get shot here, and whatnot. And then I was like, all right, let's do. What if we did a poker game? And he's like, a poker game? And I was like, yeah, let's do. I'm listening to the song. I see a poker game. Let's do a fucking poker game, dude.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And it ended up being the most prominent part of the music video.
Perfect.
And then I went in and I just kind of my music video style is really fast. It's kind of like it fits the groove of the song a lot, you know. So if it's a high energy song, it's a high energy video.
Right.
Got a lot of like crazy effects happening and things like that. And you know, Justin was, you know, he was gracious enough to just be like, yeah, dude, just kind of go off, do what you want to do, you know, and just let me play with it. And you know, and it's a learning process for me because there's a lot of shit on it the way it came out that I've never done before, but I was able to do it with this one, you know, and that video came out so awesome. I definitely think it's probably my best video to date for sure. And then the no explanation video is coming, and that's just, yeah, we've talked about that already. So
well, so one thing I was just thinking about the other like artist podcast that I've done. I was like, oh, what did I ask them? Did you teach yourself all of this shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Dude,
I've never. That was worth mentioning. I always like mentioning that because I feel like we forget, like sometimes when we teach ourselves much stuff, like, oh yeah. Yeah.
Dude, and you know what? I think it's so important to let people know that because like it opens the door for people to know that like this is not impossible to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is all self-taught. You know, I took 2 video classes in high school.
Okay.
For like a semester each, and that's it. That's the extent of my knowledge for that.
The timing of video around then too was kind of like, you probably didn't learn a ton.
I didn't learn shit. Majority of the stuff I learned and majority of the things that I pick up on and get like really good at, if I can't learn it by just doing it, YouTube teaches me everything.
Right.
Dude. At YouTube, you can learn everything on it. So like, you know, it bothers me when people are just like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do this. Well, fuck, why don't you?
Yeah, dude, it's funny. If you look at my episodes, like all the people that I've had so far that are starting businesses and stuff, I always ask them like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, you went to school for this, right? No, YouTube. Everybody's just
exactly,
we
dude. And you just
why
waste time, money when you can learn it right there, and then just the rest of it is just, for me especially, is like, you know, I like to learn little tips and tricks on, you know, things I could do with my music, things I could do with my videos and whatnot, and then I just go and personalize them, and then just add my own little flares to them and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. Like, and you won't do it until like you won't be able to see what it looks like until you try it, right? And so like I've put out way too many terrible fucking videos to be like that. I don't even want to think it. Like, it just gives me anxiety to think about, stresses me out, you know. But now the stuff that I'm putting out, I'm proud of, and I want you to watch it, and I want you to love it, you know. Like,
you know what I hope? I hope that in 10 years you think that these videos are terrible because you've gotten so much better.
Too.
That's what I hope for you.
Man,
and I feel like it's gonna happen.
Thank you.
You guys just like keep improving and you keep doing it. That's what I love about your whole crew. Obviously you especially, it's like just going full bore with these things. Like, you're not waiting for people to give you permission. You're not waiting for like not always the approval even. It's just like, I'm going to pick this thing up and I'm going to do it.
Nobody's going to do it for me.
Yeah, dude, it's something that like I talk about with when I started DJing. I was like, man, there's nowhere I can play electronic music and that's all I'm listening to. That's all I want to DJ. I don't want to DJ like hip hop and stuff. When it first started, it was just EDM, dubstep, like all I could get. I just loved it. House music. And so I was like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to throw my own parties. Like, I don't want to play for other people's. I don't want to play what other people want me to do. And so I started throwing those renegade parties. I don't know if you guys ever went to any of those.
I actually never was invited to any of those.
They were very like warehouse ravey. Like, you got the address if you were like, but sometimes they get out there. We'd get like 500 people out there, which is insane.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was insane. But it's what I did. And it's like, I didn't realize I was doing it back then, but I was kind of like, well, fuck, if nobody else is going to put me on, I'm going to put myself on. And that is what all of you guys have been doing since day one. And it's very inspirational. And man, thinking forward into 20 years, if you guys just keep working as hard as you always work, I'm excited. I hope we're all still friends at that point and I could just be alongside you, helping out in any way, like vice versa.
Absolutely, man.
Like, dude, awesome. I'm in a this place in my life. I have a lot of often moments of like very outside perspective of like, this is a moment in my life. Like, I'm going to live to be however many years old. And at this moment in my life, I'm appreciating this. And it's just cool to think of like, it's likely to think that the following years, the musicians you hang out with, we're just going to keep getting better in our certain ways. We're going to keep making videos and keep trying things like comedy and trying things like writing and all these things. It's just interesting and exciting to think about the coming life for musicians in our area and people that we know, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
So we're getting fairly up here in time.
Yeah.
Let's close this out with exactly right now. If we all got Amber Alerts on all 3 of our phones and it's like, yo, you guys have 3 hours until for sure you're going to have to fist fight zombies at your front door. What's our move right fucking now? Like, Amber Alert, it's like, this is no joke. And it's enough to where we believe it. We're like, damn, we gotta do something. What do we do? Help me out, bro. Keep me
What
alive.
do we do? Fuck, man. I would probably have us go and rob like a gun store.
Go to Jason's.
Get a bunch. Wow, my uncle Jason has a lot of guns.
You got Uncle Jason in the area?
I got an uncle Jason. He's in Rainier. He's up in Rainier. So
All right, we can
might
get there.
even-
We got
We
time.
might even get away from the
So
zombies.
good.
Might be
Oh,
able to
gosh.
buy us some more time.
Yo,
right?
this is honestly okay. So here's the secret of this podcast.
Or do you have like
I'm just hoarding.
sledgehammers, like rakes and things like that? We could fuck them up just like that.
I mean, I have like a lawn. I have a leaf blower. I really like to blow the leaves. in my
What
yard.
what if we like get like a baseball bat
Okay.
and then just have
Alright.
like get in the car and
Okay.
then just two dudes on either side of the window just hanging
This
out.
is so plausible, and his music video footage.
Bro, that's exactly, dude. That's
Shit,
music
bro.
video.
Whoever
right there,
isn't
dude.
driving, we
Just-
always have one person in the back seat. They're writing lyrics. Whatever we're doing, it's like, hey, bro, it's your job to write the lyrics this time. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna go hunt zombies. Write what you're feeling, and we're like, we know we're gonna get through this artist.
How do you feel about this moment right now?
And how does this
Yeah.
zombie make you feel?
Exactly, dude. Yeah. So I feel like we could do some damage to some zombies.
Like we definitely could. And if we need to, we can go to your Uncle Jason's. I'm just making these connections. That's why I have this podcast,
Yeah.
man. I'm really just trying to make connections.
Uncle
Because I see
Jason
the
is the
zombie
guy.
outbreak coming up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like, who's your uncle? Who's your uncle? So I have, like,
He knows-
dots on a map.
He knows how to make semi-automatic weapons into full automatic weapons. Like he's a G. So
Hey,
I mean,
don't
I'm-
snitch on him.
I'm
What the
not.
fuck?
I'm not trying to incriminate anybody. I'm saying I'm not saying he does. I'm
No,
saying
I'm
he knows
picturing-
how to.
I'm picturing Bert from Tremors. You guys ever see Tremors, that movie?
I actually have not.
Oh man, it's super funny. But he's just like this guy who's held up in he has like a little cave down there, and you open the thing, and he's got it all on the wall. His
Yeah.
guns on the wall, and it's all safe.
I just know if anybody's ever going to be fully prepared for a zombie outbreak when it happens, it's going to be Uncle Jay.
All right, Uncle Jay, that's where we're going.
That's my guy.
All right, bro. One more time, let everybody know where they can find you, your info, where they can check you out.
My name is Maxx V Payne. You can find me on Facebook at Maxx V, just Maxx V Payne, Max with 2 X's. I'm on Instagram at Maxx V Payne. You can also follow the new Coil and Payne Instagram and Facebook pages. Instagram is at official Coil Payne. You could also find the Coil and Payne page on Facebook with that same URL. Other than that, if you see our videos, follow us, subscribe to our YouTube pages, because they're about to get crazier, they're about to get better, and there's going to be so much more of them. And
They're very in depth.
and
It's enjoyable to watch, like, all of it. Like, like this is what these guys think. I was
Yeah.
watching quite a few videos this morning.
Thank you, man.
I like you guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, man.
Yeah, I'm really easy to find. It's at Maxx V Payne or at official Coil Payne anywhere and everywhere.
Mhm.
The EP is coming out here in a few months. It's incredible. It's almost done. Our new song is out right now on Spotify. Check us out. Have a fun time. I don't think I have a whole lot less
Perfect.
to say, man. Thank you so
I think-
much for having me on.
Yeah.
This has been great. This has been an awesome
Yeah,
conversation.
dude. I'm glad that you came. Thank you guys for coming by. I'm always happy to chill. And then I'm glad that you allow me to, like, I was like, hey man, we got to talk about comedy and society. So
Yeah.
thanks for jumping off that ledge with me a little bit. Man, just as a outside of this podcast, as a creator, sort of musician, whatever I am, I appreciate what you're doing as a
Thank
comedian
you.
and a musician.
I appreciate what you're doing too, man. This between the podcast and your own music and everything like that, it's awesome, and it's motivating for me.
Hell yeah.
And this podcast itself is, the episodes that I've listened to, like I said, they've consistently been benefiting me in some way. I hear things and I latch onto them, and I'm like, I could apply that. I could do that.
Oh.
I could have that as a part of my life. And so, what's happening on here is amazing. It's incredible. We didn't have too much depth on mental health or anything like that, but
Mhm.
at least, if people find some inspiration in thinking about the creative process and things like that, because that's what helped me out of my darkest
Mhm.
times, just being able to stay creative.
That's a lot of the I don't want to overuse this word because it excites me, but the Trojan horse of a lot of what I'm doing here is, like, some people might not see it at first as a mental health podcast. Of course, my demeanor, and I have little tips and tricks that I throw out, but I think that pursuing your joy and following your dreams and listening to your intuition and doing what you think you need to, and bringing people around you that feel the same way is a lot of the way to fight depression, and to learn about things and gain knowledge about your depression, or about
Yeah.
even just things that interest you, rather than just learning about terrible things or feeling your depression, being a victim of it. It helps. I think knowledge is power in so many ways, essentially.
It is, I'd like one of the things that's really important for me is just learning how to get better, how to be better. And just, even if I'm not like actively trying to be like, let me not be depressed, let me do things that make me not, like, even if I'm just working on myself as a person, as a human being, is, checking the way I think about things, checking the way that I perceive things. If I feel that I'm working on those things and that they're getting better, that in itself just pulls me out of the slump and out of that dark hole. Just knowing that, as a person, I've improved in this area, this area, this area. I still feel like shit, but at least, I look good. I feel good. I feel better. So like,
you got to take your wins and be like, okay, I am doing good in that
exactly.
area.
Yeah. And then that's something I neglect to do a lot of the time. And so I spend a lot of time just being really down on myself and being super critical of myself. And then, there comes a point or a time where you're able to step back and look, and it's like, wow, I've actually come a really long way.
Right.
Like, this is incredible. This is amazing. And, I don't do that nearly as much as I should. But it helps a lot. It helps a lot to just be able to step back and be like, I've actually progressed. I've actually made forward steps. And that in itself is something that helps you out. So,
yeah. Well,
that would be my tip.
I love that, dude. Maxx V Payne, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking care of yourself. So you're here and having these conversations with me. And I'm glad I'm on your guys' team. I'm glad I'm,
glad that you're a part.
We're all a part of this together. All of these creators in our area. We're not trying to do some versus thing. I'm glad to be floating along with y'all.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Fist bump me.
Listeners, quick little wedge in your life here. Before this thing progresses to another podcast, whether it's mine, whether it's anybody's, whether it's some YouTube video, any more entertainment that you're listening to, just throw a wedge in it. Take a break. Take a quick breath. Take a look around, look at your environment. Is what you're doing matching up with who you want to be ultimately? Are you working towards your end goals of who you want to be with this wonderful life? Take a look around. Love yourself. Have a good rest of your day.